The year was 1977. Two Yeshiva Bachrim from the Crownheights Yeshiva needed to go out to make a phone call. It was Avrohom and his friend Shlomo. So they went to the next block to find a phone booth. And Avrohom went inside to make the call. Shlomo was waiting outside, and he noticed that there were three gang members approaching them. They stopped right next to the phone booth, and one of them all of a sudden took out an ice pick and tried to stab Shlomo. But he kind of jumped back, so he only got scraped in the arm. But Avrohom wasn't so lucky. They opened up the phone booth and he stabbed Avrohom 3 times in the chest. They ran off, and Shlomo tried to take Avrohom back to the yeshiva to try and get help, but there was nothing they can do. It was too late. I don't have to tell you such a tragedy, such the pain and the horror, what was going on in the community, in the family, the yeshiva. Nobody bothered to really ask and get details from that night. Shlomo was totally broken and in shock, and they didn't want to ask him what was going on. What were they doing at night making a phone call? And why was there wine and cake on Avrohom's bed the next day? So they just kind of left it alone. But 33 years later, Shlomo gets a phone call from Avrohom's brother. And he says, I'd like to meet with you. There's so many details that are missing from what really happened on that night. So they met, and Shlomo told him the story. He said, every Friday, Bachrim would get a territory to go to speak with secular Israelis or secular Jews. Well, their territory was a street in Manhattan that was lined with electronic stores owned by secular Israelis. And they would go there every Friday. And there was one particular shop owner, not religious, and he would welcome them in, and he enjoyed being with them. Very happy guy. Well, one day they came in on a Friday to his store, and he said, what, my wife just had a baby girl. They said, wow, mazel tov, that's amazing. Maybe in honor of your new baby, your wife will start lighting Shabbos candles. And he said, what, even better, why don't you come Monday to the Rebbe's minyan at 770, daven there, and you can name the baby. You'll get a bracha from the Rebbe. How amazing is that? That'll be such a great, tremendous thing for your new baby girl. And he said, come on, I don't know, I'm not religious, and I never did it for any of my other kids. I don't know. They said, no, you have to come. This is an opportunity, and your new daughter, it'll be so good for her future to get a bracha from the Rebbe. So he said, okay, I'll go. So he wrote down the address, and then the boys left. Well, Sunday night, Avrohom said to Shlomo, he says, I know this guy's going to back out. He's not going to come. So Avrohom said to Shlomo, you know what? Let's give him a call. So they went out to the phone booth, and that's exactly who they were talking to. He said, you're coming tomorrow, right? So Avrohom said, you're coming. And the guy, sure enough, he was backing out. He said, I don't know. I thought about it. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. He says, no. Avrohom said, no, you're coming. You're gonna get a bracha from the Rebbe, and your daughter is gonna to benefit, and it's gonna be a good thing for her future. And you need this. You need to come and name the baby at the Rebbe's minyan. And then he said, by the way, did she light the Shabbos candles? And at that point, that's when these hoodlums came into the phone booth and he was stabbed. Those were his last words. And now Avrahami's brother turned to Shlomo and he says, I want to thank you. That makes things a lot clearer for me. Well, Shlomo then turned to Avrahami's brother and he said, I answered all your questions. Just answer one of mine. Why now? Why did you wait 33 years to come to me to find out the details of what happened that night? He said, well, we got a phone call from a woman in Eretz Yisrael. Her name is Pam, or Pesha. And she told us that she didn't grow up religious, and she doesn't know why, but her whole life, she had this urge, this unexplainable desire to find out about her Judaism. And now she's a Shomer Shabbos, from religious woman living in Eretz Yisrael. She has a family, she has 2 boys. Well, one time her father came to visit, and he said, I see how dedicated and how much you love your religion. I want to tell you the following story because I think you should know. He said there were 2 boys that used to come from Crown Heights, and they would visit me, and they would put on tefillin, and they wanted your mother to light Shabbos candles. And one time they came, and I said that we just had a baby girl. Well, they said, we have to go to 770. We have to go to Crown Heights and daven with the Rebbe, and he's going to give a bracha to our new baby girl, to you, for your future, that it'll be good for you. And I didn't want to go. But I got this strange phone call from them, and I put 2 and 2 together. I read the news the next day, and I said, I have to go. I have to be there. I want to honor their wishes. So I went there, and I got a bracha from the Rebbe, and I named you Pesha. Pesha meaning for the passion. for the passion and the dedication these boys had. And I just want you to know that you got this special bracha because they were so dedicated. They were able to see in the future how good it would be for you. And I think that a lot of what you have today is from them and from that blessing. Now the Talmud asks, it says, who is the wise person? And it answers, Haroa es hanolad, the one who's able to foresee outcomes and consequences. And we get that from this week's Parsha because Yaakov Avinu, look how he prepared for the future for Klal Yisrael. You see, the Jewish people in this week's Parsha are commanded to build the Mishkan, the tabernacle, which was basically a wooden structure. Now, the Jewish people are walking through the desert. Where are they going to find wood to build this massive structure? Well, Yaakov Avinu knew, when he was told to go down to Egypt, he foresaw that this whole thing is going to take place. Eventually the Jewish people are going to be taken out. They're going to have to be going through the desert in order to get to the land of Israel. So he said to himself, well, they're going to need a place to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu. They're going to need to build some type of Mishkan. Where are they going to get the wood from? So he took with him, Rashi tells us, that he took with him the little trees. And he told his sons, he said, plant these trees, and the wood, hundreds of years later, when you come out of Egypt, the wood that comes from them, these trees, cut them down and take the wood out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt, and take them to the desert, because you're going to need them to build a Mishkan, a place to be able to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu. He was able to see the consequences. It wasn't just going down to Mitzrayim for another stage of life and whatever will be. He saw the whole future play out in front of him, because everything, every day, every minute, hour, year has meaning. Everything that happens to us, there's implications, and we have to be able to foresee those implications. Is it getting us closer to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, or is it taking us away from a Kadosh Baruch Hu? We have to be able to anticipate consequences in the future, so we don't give up on any amount of meaning in our life and missing out on our potential in life. This is the way a Jew thinks, acts, and feels. Have an amazing Shabbos.